What's up, guys? I'm back for more poker action. It's Wednesday, August 7th, and I'm headed back to the Peppermill. It's just past 7 p.m. I'm on my last week of vacation of the year. I actually went to Vegas this past weekend to celebrate my 6th anniversary with my wife, and I didn't play any poker. We did the Vegas scene. We did the day pool at Planet Hollywood, where they played with the DJ, and then we went out to the club at night. We had a blast. It was our first 2-day trip without the kids ever, so it's pretty sweet. And now we're just back up in Truckee. Spent some time at the the beach. Finishing up my summer tan, which is I'm really excited about. And the kids are asleep, and I'm headed to the Peppermill. I have a little more flexibility on my timeline, so if I find a good game, I'll just kind of play until I feel like I want to leave. So I brewed pour over a coffee earlier today, so it's 7 o'clock, and I'm gonna pound this Mexican organic. A little fatigued from sitting in the sun, but not in any place where I feel like I would play bad. I just need that little boost of caffeine to get me through the night. So I'm excited. Gonna try to play some no limit cash, either a 1-2 or a 3-5 game, whatever has a seat available, and hopefully I'll crush them the way I did a few weeks ago at the Peppermill. So until then, I'm leaving Truckee now. I'll be in Reno in about 40 to 45 minutes, so I'll check in when I get there. All right, later. What's up? Playing 1-2 no limit. The table I sat down wasn't very good. Two really aggressive guys with huge stacks. They were just betting every hand. So I was down 100, rebought another 100. So I'm in for 300 playing 1-2 no limit. And just got moved to a new table. They broke down a table, so starting over. Gonna win all the chips, baby. Let's get to 1,000 tonight. Yeah. Back to even. I got kings, lost about $75, so I'm in for another 100, in for 400 total, sitting at 217. Let's go. How's it going, everyone? I just want to check in real quick about last night's session at the Peppermill. I ended up playing 1-2 no limit cash game, bought in for 200. It was an up and down roller coaster game. I played for about 4 hours or so, left around, I don't know, midnight, got home around 1. It was a late night. Man, so like really early on, I had a king-queen offsuit, and the flop came, it gave me an open-ended straight draw. The turn put the third heart out, checked around to me. I checked, took my free card, and the river gave me the nut straight, and a guy let out for 30 bucks, and I just had a feeling that he was trapping, and I was right. I just called, I didn't raise, and he made the nut flush, so that put me down to about 132, I believe, and then this hand came up. So check out this hand breakdown, and I'll be back with you. Okay, here's the first hand breakdown. Early on, I lost a hand where I had king queen and made a straight and lost to the nut flush. So I started with 200. I was down to 132 to start this hand, and I was in the small blind with king queen of hearts. So the early position players folded. Couple calls. I called. The big blind raised to 15. The other two players folded, and I called to see the flop heads up. I flopped the absolute nuts. Jack 10 9 rainbow. I have the straight, best hand possible. There's $34 in the pot, and I have 117 chips in my stack. So because he was the pre-flop aggressor, I decided to check, and it's just heads up. He made it $20. I pretty quickly check raised him to $60, leaving myself with $57 behind. He sat there for a while and called the additional 40. So now there's 154 in the pot, and I have $57 left. And he has me well covered. So the turn's a jack, pairing the board. It's a pretty easy all-in for me. I'm never folding here, and the only way that I'm beat is if he called with a set on the flop and made a full house, but I think he's just moving in on the flop with a set. So I'm really not scared. The only thing I'm scared of is a jack, but either way, with 154 in the pot, I'm not going to check fold $57. So I moved all in. He sat there for a while and folded, and I took down the nice pot of $211. Get me right back into the action. So that was a lovely hand, flopping the nuts. And honestly, I'm surprised the guy didn't call my all-in, because I wasn't sure what he was calling with, because my bet on the river was so small. But I'm not complaining. Put me back over 200. And then I lost a few hands raising up, continuation betting, not hitting anything. People stayed around. So then this next hand came up. This was a wild hand, three-way all-in. Check it out. Okay, here's a wild hand that came up. It was a three-way pot with me, a guy that looked like he was straight up from an 80s rock band, with the mullet and the goatee and the mustache, everything, and the guy on the button. I end up getting in a few big hands with him. He was also in this hand. So I started the hand with $191. So I built it up, dropped back down, losing some crucial hands, bought in for another 100. So at this point I'm in for $300. So I'm down just over 100. So I got dealt the best hand possible, two black aces. The guy under the gun calls for 2. I raised to 13. It's a couple folds. The 80s rock band guy calls, the button calls. Get a couple folds, and seat 3 also calls. So we see the flop 4 ways. The flop comes queen 10 5 rainbow. There's $55 in the pot. Seat 3 checks. I make it $20 to go. 80s rock band guy instantly makes it $40 to go. And he's only got just over 100 left, I guess, including the 40. So he doesn't have that much behind. So then the guy on the button sits there forever and cold calls the 40. And he also puts him at less than 100 left, and I have them both covered. So sure, someone could have a set, but it's only $100 really that I'm going to lose if they do. And it's way more likely that the 80s rock band guy has a queen or like a big draw. I'm not worried about the button at all, because he called a third of his stack, didn't move all in, so there's no way, because there's already so much action, there's no way I'm beat here from him. So I'm just worried about what 80s rock band guy has. So the button calls, I just ship it in, put them both all in. They both snap call. So it turns out 80s rock band guy has a set of 5s, and the button has ace king. Now that's a horrible, in my opinion, this is a horrible play by the button. So he called with 2 overcards and a gut shot. But there was a bet and a re-raise ahead of him, and his ace and king could not even be good. So really, he could just be counting on the jack, and he called a third of his stack to hit a jack, and there's only 4 jacks in the deck. So to me, that was a horrible play. So we're in bad shape, but lucky for us, the board runs out really good. King and a jack. We both make a straight, split the pot, split 80s rock band guys money. He gets up, he's tilted, and lucky for us, we made a little profit. But really, we should have lost that pot. So, super lucky not to lose to the set of 5s. I'll take a split pot any day right there. Pocket aces worked out for me there. I actually got pocket aces 3 times in my session, and this next time I had pocket aces, I got a full double up. This is a sweet hand, so check it out. Okay, so at this point, I have bought in for 200, added another 100, and added another 100. So I'm in for 400 and I'm down to 131. And this was the big hand that got me back. I didn't get back to even, but it definitely got me in a much better position so I could continue to keep playing. So I had $131 in my stack and I was in early position. And this hand will be against the guy in seat 8, who's the same guy who had the ace king of diamonds on that last hand where we split the pot, where he misplayed it really bad, in my opinion. So again, for the 3rd time in this session, I had pocket aces. So I raised to 12, goes fold, fold. He calls the 12. A bunch more folds. So we see the flop heads up, and he has me covered. So the flop comes king of spades, 9 of spades, 8 of hearts. So I have the overpair, and it's just heads up. So I decide to bet $15, and he calls. So the turn is another 9. Not the best card for me. If he's calling with a 9, he just made trips and he outdrew me. I'm probably, if he has like a big king, like ace king, king queen, he's probably raising me on the flop. So I'm just kind of, I have to keep betting. I'm not just gonna give up or check and then he'll take the lead. I have to keep the lead here. There's 57 in the pot. I have 104. I decide to make a huge bet in case he's on a draw. So I bet 50, which is half my stack, and he called me. So now it's just like, okay. I still think I'm good. If he has a 9, he's moving in for sure. I think he's got a queen at this point or a draw, but that's a pretty big call to make with a draw. So the river's a jack of hearts. Kind of like the first hand breakdown, this is an easy decision for me. I have $54. There's 157 in the pot. If he had a hand like king jack and he made 2 pair, I still beat him with aces and 9s. So I'm really not worried. I'm very confident I have the best hand. Honestly, I don't think he's calling me when I move in, but I have to move in. So I moved all in for 54. He sat there for a while and called off half his stack. He was on the draw with jack 6 of spades, missed his draw, hit the jack, and called me with second pair. Again, a really bad play by this guy. So this is why in small stakes cash games, it's really important to play decent cards to start out. I really like to play suited connectors, 7-8 of hearts, jack 10 of spades, stuff like that. But jack 6 of spades calling, not even on the button or in the blind. The guy lost basically, I don't know, 80% of his stack, and he didn't even need to be in the hand. So I'm super happy. I mean, he called so much money all the way with the spade draw and then hit his jack, and then I moved in. There's no way that a jack is any good there, but he just felt like he had to call. So that guy didn't play very well. He was also the guy in the hand that I split with the aces, and he had ace king, and he cold called a bet on the flop with just ace king high, and so it wasn't a very good player. So then I just kept going up and down, up and down. In the session, I think I went down to 100, rebought, to 200, and then won a little bit, went back down to 100 again, rebought for another 100, so I was in for 400 for the full session. And then this final hand came down. Little backstory, this European guy to my left, he lost a huge hand. It was a three-way all-in, and the pot had to be like $500 or $600. And the flop was ace 2-2. I don't know what he had, but they got all in finally by the river, and this guy had pocket aces, had flopped aces full, and the European guy folded, and he was on uber tilt. He was like flinging his cards, flinging his chips. I texted my buddy Mitch. I said, this guy's on tilt, and I'm gonna get his chips. So then this hand came up, the final hand breakdown of this video. It was sweet. I won a nice pot. Check it out. This truly has been a roller coaster ride. In this session, I had a bunch of hands, raised them up, didn't hit many flops, kept getting chipped away, and then I'd win a big pot, double up, lose a bunch, win a big pot. I only had a few crucial big pots that I won, and the rest was just lose, 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 win big, lose, 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 win big. So here's the last pot that I won that was a significant amount. It was against a European guy to my left, and he was on extreme tilt. I knew his chips were in play, and I just was waiting for a hand where I could take advantage and get as many of those chips as I could before he got up. So I was 2 off the button. I had king 8 of clubs. It's a good limping hand in a small stakes cash game. Really just trying to get in there and make a flush, not trying to make a pair. So we saw the flop 6-handed, and for the second time of the night I flopped the absolute nuts. Ace queen 6 of clubs. Check to me, I bet 6. The European tilt box to my left called, and everyone else folded. So we're heads up and he has position, and I have the nuts. So the turn is the 7 of diamonds. I'm still have the best hand possible. There's $24 in the pot. I have 194. So I decided to juice it up a little more. I bet $12, half pot. He calls. So the river is the 4 of spades. There's $48 in the pot. In any other situation, I'm not a big over better. I try to bet a nice amount, but small enough to get called. But in this case, he's either calling me with like an ace or he's folding. So it's either he's got something that's going to call really any bet, or he's not going to call at all. So I decided to over bet the pot, which, because he's on tilt, I figure he's more likely to call than if he was just a normal guy playing with a great mindset. So I bet 55. Yeah, 55. He snap calls me. Like, he didn't even think about it. And then I flipped over the nuts, took down the pot of $158, and I was right back in it. So I just had a feeling that if I overbet that river, he was going to pay me off, and he did. It was awesome. I did a really good job in this session of getting paid off when I had really big hands. So that was it for the session. I was total in for 400, cashed out for 277. So I lost 123, but I had at least 10 to 15 hands where I raised with like ace king, ace queen, ace jack, ace king suited, pocket tens, pocket queens, pocket kings. And the flops were just terrible. I'd continuation bet, I'd bet the turn, tried to stay aggressive, and there'd be a lot of action where I knew I was beat, or they would stay in and we'd check it down. And I didn't like lose my stack or anything, but I'd have kings and an ace would flop, so I'd slow down but still stay aggressive. So stuff like that. Easily could have won a lot because I had those 4 big hands, but it's okay. It was a decent session. It was just good to get some time in. And I don't know when I'll be playing next, but thanks for watching, guys. I really enjoy doing the hand breakdowns because it makes me think about how I played the hand, if I could have played it better, or how my opponents played. Like the 2 hands this one guy played with the ace king and the jack 6, those were just really bad plays. So I'm glad to look back, because when I sat down, I thought he was like a decent player. He looked like he kind of knew what he was doing, but those were just really bad errors in my opinion. So it's good to review and see how we're doing. So thanks for watching. I will check in next time. Hopefully I'll get another game in a month or so. And I'm just looking forward to November, the second weekend in November, when Mark and I hit the Orleans. So until then, I'm just going to keep hitting cash games. Alright, talk to you soon. Later.